My 20s have definitely been interesting to say the least. I took a lot of losses, particularly in the early half, but it's probably a good thing I learned these lessons while I still had time to adjust to the new knowledge and correct myself. And knowledge can be gained in many different ways: observations, personal experience, reasonable hypotheticals. We use these things to put ourselves in a different set of shoes than our own, whether it's expecting the best or preparing for the worst. So let me talk to y'all about some of the hard lessons that I learned, and maybe I can pay it forward too. So, first things first, you might be young, but you can do a ton of damage to your financial situation long term, very early on. It's so easy to take out credit cards and personal loans and student loans and car loans. Hell, by the time you're 21 to 25, you could easily be anywhere between 10K to 100K in the negative. And you might be barely making above minimum wage at that point too, for various reasons. And guess what? Now you got to spend years working in perpetuity to dig yourself out of that hole you built yourself. And the thing is, it's all by design too. But yeah, like being overambitious and underinformed is one of the easiest ways to blow through a bunch of money that you don't even have yet. The system is not designed for you to succeed, it's designed to sustain itself. The rules of the game are mostly made up and reinforced by people who simply want to maintain the status quo. Almost everything around us is a marketing tool used to reel us in and bait us into participating in the system. Take your pick: ultra consumerism, perpetual debt masks as a leveraging tool, 24/7 personal ads over the air and on your phone too, perpetual work because they'll never pay you enough to leave, and chasing romance and love through a rigged dating market. You know how many business models and holidays and social norms are built off the fundamental idea of using our own psychology against us? The rabbit hole goes deep, but fact of the matter is, they have many ways to get you. And speaking of that, everything is about money, straight up. Yes, some will say it shouldn't be about money. Well, it is. Nothing in this society can sustain without a profit. In fact, everything you see exists almost for the sole purpose of making money, including people. We have to exchange our time to work and make a living to survive. The level of exploitation depends on what position you're lucky enough to get in, be born into, or be given. Without a profit, businesses close down and leave communities, which creates more problems like food deserts. You want a good illustration? Go downtown to your local metro area and look around. Somebody owns every single thing you see, and everything there is for the intention of making money. Parking lots, meters, construction sites. The buildings and skyscrapers are meant to house offices and business spaces to make money. The apartments and the living spaces are there to make money. The buses and the taxis are there for transportation and to make money. Those random signs and the no parking spaces, money. The city buildings, which tax you on everything you do with registration and road taxes and wheel taxes and all that stuff. Yeah, money too. From ticketing your vehicle so the city can make money. Again, it's all about money. Everything you see is owned by somebody. Always remember that. But yeah, that's why I always say that ownership is key with anything you do. Next, let's talk about working. In particular, working hard. And let me just say this, man. Working hard just to work hard is not a flex. I remember back years ago when I was working 2 jobs with a side business while going to school, and I hated it. And honestly, in the short term, as a means to an end, it's pretty cool. But trying to do it long term to sustain yourself and pay a bill or pay something that you can't miss, like, it's not going to work out in many cases. Now, I've seen people do it, but like I said, it's going to be a sacrifice to be made. It might end up being a recipe for disaster. Burning yourself out really ain't worth it. It's like a cycle. Strenuous work leads to health problems, which means you have to take off from work, which leads to financial problems because you're missing money due to taking off from work, which leads to working harder to make up for lost time, which leads to more health problems, and you get the point. One of the worst things I see is when people will work 2 to 3 jobs and they have nothing to show for it. They're just running really, really hard, but staying in the same place. And similar to driving nice cars and having luxury items and the like, the concept of working hard is like a status symbol for a lot of people. They'll brag about having 2.5 jobs and working 85 hours a day. and they'll look down on others who don't do the same because that's their flex. It's definitely odd, but it's just what they do. So, yeah, having kids while poor is pretty much a guaranteed trip to poverty. Now, personally, I don't have any kids, nor do I want them. But this is something I've seen frequently come up with people I've come across. If you have a solid support system, you might have a better chance, but man, you better think twice before making those commitments. The economy is not going to leave you any gaps for error, and better yet, if you choose to have kids, you might want to be careful who you have kids with, fellas, because once you do, she effectively controls your financial output for the next 18 to 25 years. And you better play ball with her, because if you don't want to play ball with her no more, well, good luck playing ball with that child support office. And yeah, speaking of women, when I was younger, I wish somebody had warned me about them. I wish somebody had warned me to not be a simp or a sucker or an idiot. I wish somebody had warned me that gestures and acts of service will never trump pure attraction. I wish somebody had warned me that doing the right things doesn't get you much further than the guy who does the wrong things. Nevertheless, it is what it is. In their essence, women, in plural, can be a great complement to your life. But I definitely think you should temper your expectations and sort of understand the game that's being played out here. Women simply receive and process and do things differently than us. And you've got to learn to manage your approach to them realistically with open eyes, not with rose tinted glasses. All right. Now, let's talk about leverage. Everything is built on leverage. And what is leverage? Well, I'll describe it as whoever feels they have the least to lose by walking away from a particular situation. So, in almost every relationship you see, somebody has leverage over the other. And honestly, you kind of want to make sure that you are the one who has the leverage, because you damn sure don't want to be the one dependent on somebody else. Striving for self-sufficiency is key. If you don't have it, just know that somebody else does. Next, avoid the reach back mentality. Many times it's easy to get into this mindset that you have to go back to something, whether it's a previous financial situation, an old lover, or a different version of your body. It's easy to get caught wallowing in the past because of how familiar it is. But I've learned it's better to say, the best days are ahead of me. The reach back mentality tends to put people on a cycle of going back to the things they left for a reason, or it gives you an excuse to not do the work going forward to build something new. My next one is quality over time wasting. Don't be a miser. There's a trade-off for everything, and saving money is good, but you pay for quality. I'm a huge fan of DIYing things and learning how to do things and gaining new skills. But what I don't like is when people are so cheap to the point of where they either waste time, create more problems, or just have to deal with more stress from being cheap. Hiring somebody off the street to do intricate, complicated work for you so you can save money is stupid. Buying the same thing 10 times when you could have bought it once is dumb. And not just about quality, but if something gets screwed up, you at least want to be able to hold somebody or something or some entity liable for what happened, as opposed to having to spend more to correct something that went wrong on your own. If there's nobody to hold accountable, then you're asked out. And next, I can't stress this enough, but having awareness is crucial, vital even. The world is not a friendly place to people who don't learn from mistakes, and not just their own, but from other people's mistakes. And when people sense that you're a mark or an idiot, they're going to take advantage of you. I don't care who it is. It's just human nature. And honestly, ignorance is bliss, man. You've heard it before. It feels good to be stupid. You don't worry or feel anxious about silly things like relevant details or cost benefit. You just going where the wind blows. And there are so many things in life where you almost have to be dumb enough to do it, to be honest. So sometimes I wish I was like that too. But it's probably a good thing that I'm not. And there's no reset or a do-over button in life, at least for a lot of things. So always try to be somewhat informed about what you're getting yourself into, and be judicious about who you seriously involve yourself with, because you can only walk away from so many messes before they start to catch up with you. Get a chick pregnant or have kids at the wrong time? Well, too bad, she got you. Took out a 7-year loan on a heavily used car with an overmarket price plus a 12% interest rate? Well, they got you too. Just a few examples, but You got to figure out what to do moving forward. As a smart man once said, when you don't take control of your path, one will be assigned to you. So finally, look, your 20s can be a very interesting time because you think you have everything figured out and then you don't. But that might actually be a good thing. All things considered, keep your head on straight, stay in your lane, focus on building a good income, and don't overstay your welcome in bad relationships. You'll probably be all right. So yeah, man, I appreciate y'all for making it this far. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to drop a like below and leave a comment as always. Follow my newsletter where I share notes just like this straight to your email inbox. My socials will be below if you want to check me out over there. And finally, subscribe for more.